There are places in the Commonwealth where the radiation is the least of your problems. Places where the ground itself remembers something older than the Great War. Something that was already waiting when the first bombs fell. Tonight, we walk the darkest corners of Fallout 4. The stories most players rush past, the terminals most never finish reading, and the things that were never meant to see the light again. Our first stop is a marble quarry northeast of the Slog. On the surface, it looks like any other forged scrap operation. Raiders, scrap metal, the usual. But the deeper you go, the more the Commonwealth starts to feel wrong. The walls feel too smooth, the air grows heavy. And then the visions begin. Before the war, Dunwitch Borers LLC was not primarily a mining company. The marble was a cover. What they were really digging for was an ancient temple buried far below the surface, a place the Dunwitch family had been searching for across generations. Terminals and holotapes left behind tell the story clearly. Project managers were summoned one by one to Station 4 under false pretenses. They never came back up. Their names are still down there: Bob Stanson, Bradley Ramone, John Hatfield, and Tim Schutz. You meet what is left of them as named feral ghouls kneeling in a chamber that still shakes as if something massive is breathing beneath the rock. One of the last coherent entries belongs to a forged named Bedlam, who was sent to get production moving again. Her early logs are full of contempt for the yellow bastards whispering about things in the mine. Her final entry is only one sentence repeated over and over: "I'm safe in the light." At the very bottom of the quarry, past the visions of sacrifice and the kneeling ghouls, is a submerged altar and a unique blade called Kremv's Tooth. The statue that rises from the water is only partially visible. Whatever it represents was already ancient when the Dunwich family first learned its name. The same family whose building in the capital wasteland once housed similar relics and the name Ugg Qualtoth. Some doors, once opened, do not close cleanly. But not every horror in the Commonwealth comes from the deep earth. Some of them wear human faces and still live in the same houses they occupied before the bombs. In an elegant Boston mansion lives the Cabot family: Jack Cabot, his sister Emma-Jean, their mother Wilhelmina. They look like they belong to another century, because they do. The Cabots have not aged normally since the late 1800s. The source of their longevity is Lorenzo Cabot, the family patriarch, born in 1835. In 1894, he led an expedition into the Rub al-Khali Desert, searching for the lost city of Ubar. What he found instead was a subterranean structure containing non-human remains and a single artifact he called the Crown. He put it on. It fused to his nervous system. It stopped his aging, gave him unnatural strength, and granted him limited telekinetic power. It also slowly unmade his mind. By 1898, the family had confined him in the basement of Parsons State Insane Asylum, an institution they themselves controlled, to stop the violence. Jack spent the following centuries studying the artifact, extracting a mysterious serum from his father's altered blood. That serum is what has kept the rest of the family alive and young into 2287. They have lived for more than 400 years on the diluted essence of whatever Lorenzo became. Most players never fully sit with the implication. A man who walked the earth before the American Civil War is still alive beneath an asylum in the Commonwealth, wearing a piece of something that should not exist, while his descendants continue to harvest longevity from him. When you finally confront the choice of whether to free him or end him, you are not simply resolving a family dispute. You are deciding what to do with a living relic of a world that predates recorded human history. And then there is the vault that never pretended to be about survival. Beneath Malden Middle School sits Vault 75. Families arrived with their children believing they had found safety. The moment the vault sealed, the parents were separated and executed. The children were told the surface, up topland, was a dead world of monsters. They were raised, tested, chemically enhanced, and bred under a single directive: improve the human genome for military use. Terminals in the laboratory and overseer's office are clinical to the point of horror. At age 18, every resident was evaluated. Those rated superior or excellent were taken to the genomics lab for harvesting. The language is careful, but the meaning is not. Their genetic material was extracted so the next generation could be improved. The rest were culled. A small number of intelligent but less physically perfect subjects were offered positions on the research staff. Refusal meant death. The vault maintained its population through controlled breeding and IVF in a sealed nursery. Eventually, the children understood what was being done to them. A revolt followed. By the time the sole survivor arrives, the vault is occupied by gunners and the experiment has been dead for a very long time. But the terminals remain. The combat simulation room still works. The training protocols are still loaded. You can stand in the place where children were measured for slaughter and read the exact language the scientists used while they did it. 3 different kinds of darkness. One older than humanity, patient beneath the stone. One that wears a human face and has refused to die for 4 centuries. One that looked at children and saw only raw material. Most of the Commonwealth's dangers can be explained by radiation, mutation, or simple human cruelty after the end of the world. These 3 cannot. Dunwitch Borers was already a place of sacrifice before the first bomb fell. The Cabot artifact was already altering a man before the 20th century began. Vault 75 was designed from the beginning as a machine for processing children into better weapons. The Great War did not create every horror in the wasteland. In some cases, it only buried them, and in others, it simply failed to kill them. The next time you walk past a quiet quarry, an old asylum, or a school that still has a vault door in its basement, remember that the Commonwealth keeps its oldest secrets in the dark on purpose. Some of them are still listening. Which of these places unsettled you the most? Or is there another corner of Fallout 4 that still feels wrong long after you left it? Tell me in the comments.